tornado hit. It took about a second and a half. It was over.
The trailer is just strewn all over the place. The roof of the trailer is on the other side of the lot here.
Maybe 60-mile-an-hour winds to have done this.
The wind is blowing at about 50 miles an hour and gusting.
Yeah, we survived one. This one's too much.
From Channel 4 News, a special report for the eastern third of the United States, the storm of the century. Good evening, I'm Bryan Norcross. At least 16 people are dead around the country, 13 of those in Florida, as a massive winter storm wreaks havoc on the eastern U.S. In South Florida, a state of emergency declared in Dade County by Governor Childs, along with 20 other counties in the state. And just minutes ago, President Clinton ordered emergency federal aid sent to Florida. It all comes after a series of killer tornadoes. In fact, 50 tornadoes reported in at least 15 counties here. We have team coverage across the state and across the nation. We begin with Hank Tester live in Homestead. Hank.
It was very scary. It was so scared. I didn't know it was Andrew was coming back. The house was shaking. It's still shaking now. You can see all the weather. And it was scary. The lightning bolts was coming through, and I was scared.
Did that trailer bounce around a lot?
Yes, it did. Very much. It's a little trailer. I hold 3 people in that trailer. It's a 32-foot trailer, and it moved.
Was your heart pounding?
Oh, was it? You can look in my face and tell it was moving, yeah.
Oh, man, and you had thunder and lightning?
Yes, and we had no phones, no way of calling anybody, you know, and it's sad. It's a sad situation. It's depressing, you know, because we're living in this little thing, and I'm scared. What we've been through, Andrew, I don't want to go through it again.
And you thought so last night?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did, and it's kind of sad.
Yeah. I mean,
I was scared.
How much more of this are we going to put up with?
I really can't tell you. I wish somebody would come down and help us.
A serious situation in Homestead. Obviously, Hank Tester can't hear us there, but we do have Ari Odzer standing by in Broward County at the scene of a fire. Ari, where are you?
Bryan, we're at the corner of Northwest 21st Avenue and Oakland Park Boulevard in Oakland Park. This is the 4C dive shop, or what's left of the 4C dive shop. You can see firefighters working to get this fire under control and put out the last dying embers. The fire completely engulfed the store and ripped through the neighboring stores as well. Now, we don't know if this fire was weather related. The firefighters say they're not sure of that yet, but we do know that because of the high winds, it took a long time to put this fire out, and those high winds enabled the fire to go through here and completely destroy the rest of the stores in this adjoining shopping center over here as well. Now, we have been out and about all day in South Florida surveying the damage caused by this morning's storm. Here's some of what we saw. We're at the Delray Beach Tennis Center off of Atlantic Avenue. Just last week, a Virginia Slims tennis tournament was played here, and now look at the place. That huge section of bleachers over there was completely demolished in the storm this morning. You can see those pieces of wood were tossed about like popsicle sticks in the wind, but we're told that section of bleachers was just a temporary setup for the tournament itself. The regular part of the stadium appears to have weathered the storm pretty well. When you came out here this morning and saw this, what did you think?
It was a little disheartening, to say the least. We just finished the stadium in time for the Virginia Slims tournament, and this is what we saw this morning.
Moving south into Lauderhill, the storm squalls dumped enough rain onto one family's apartment roof to leave this mess, but at least they have a roof. Down at C.B. Smith Park in Pembroke Pines, 4 families with a combined 18 children were living in tents.
The kids were sleeping, and my husband says, get them out of here now. And we couldn't even get out because the wind was blowing so hard we couldn't even get the door open.
All of a sudden, everything just came in, caved in. The walls, both sides fell through, the window fell through.
These families lost everything in Hurricane Andrew and are now starting from ground zero again, victimized by another storm.
It's just one thing after another. We was hoping to save up some money so we could get a house or an apartment, but the way it looks now, we just got to take it one step at a time.
Back now live at the fire scene. You can see the firefighters climbing the ladder up there, trying to, they're going to get ready to shoot some water down onto the top to make sure that they've got this thing out. Now, as we said earlier, we're not sure if this thing was weather related or not, but we can tell you as far as weather related deaths in Broward County, apparently there have been 2 people, one person in Davie, one person in Pompano Beach, who died in accidents this morning that we are told are weather related. Brian?
All right, tell us again exactly where you are there. Which shopping center is that?
It's a small plaza on the corner of Northwest 21st Avenue and Oakland Park Boulevard in Oakland Park. And Oakland Park Boulevard, if you can look out this way, is completely blocked off over here. So as far as traffic is concerned, avoid Oakland Park Boulevard just west of I-95 by all means.
All right, our odds are live in Broward. Thanks very much. Now, let's bring you up to date on the power situation around South Florida, because this could be a problem tonight. Florida Power and Light tells us about 300,000 people still without power throughout its system that's around the state, about 125,000 customers in South Florida alone. And FPL will implement rotating blackouts, remember those from 1989, possibly as early as tomorrow morning because of the cold weather expected, and then once again on Monday morning. If you don't have power, please be patient. FP&L is working to get the power turned back on as quickly as possible. Now, widespread damage from this morning's storm. Well, we took a view of it from above the damage from Sky 4. Here it is from Channel 4 photographer Rob Pierce's point of view.
From the air, you can see that this nearly was a tragedy. This crane narrowly escaped falling on this condo on the beach. Fortunately, it fell towards the east. And the high-rise next to it lost part of its roof, still under construction.
We're on our way up to Opa-locka Airport, and we've got some people out here that are surveying the damage. What you can see right there are two planes that have been kicked over and are resting upside down, a single-engine Cessna and some type of experimental plane. You can see quite a handful of people that have gathered just looking at the damage, and airplanes weren't the only things that found themselves upside down. Look at this. It looks like a pickup truck or some type of small vehicle, and they're out here trying to figure out exactly how much damage this has all been.
You came out here and you tied it down, but it just didn't do any good?
It didn't help whatsoever. The rope snapped, flipped on over, as you see.
You just bought this plane?
Just bought it recently. Don't even have it insured at this time yet.
What kind of damage do you think it's done to it?
It's totaled. Absolutely.
These are just one of the many crews that we've seen working on the power lines. We're right in the Red Road area of East Kendall. And you can see two bucket trucks here trying to get these lines that have come down put back up. And there's a house over here. We've seen several of them that have just been getting along with the tarps on the house. Well, the wind has come along and ripped them off. You can see that this tarp is just blown in the wind.
The wind just whipping everything around. Take a look at these street signs. And if you can't beat the wind, why not use it? Look at these wind servers on the bay. They're definitely getting a free ride.
In Sky 4, photographer Rob Pierce, Channel 4 News.
Some of our live coverage we had here this morning on Channel 4. And in Cuba, 2 people killed by freak winds and waves, and at least 2 major tourist hotels in Havana had to be evacuated. Palm Beach also took a pounding in this wicked weather. Lynn Gordon standing by live in Palm Beach now. Lynn?
Well, Brian, I'm standing along the water here in Palm Beach. It's still very windy out here. Gusts of up to 50 miles per hour are still being reported out at Palm Beach International Airport, and you can feel the temperatures dropping. It's getting pretty cold. We do have some extensive damage to show you as the storm pounded Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. We can show you this trailer park. Residents at this West Palm Beach trailer park say that a twister ripped through their neighborhood. High winds tore trees right out of the ground, crushing roofs and cars. Delray Beach was one of the hardest areas hit. A giant Norfolk pine nearly cut one woman's home in half. About 82,000 homes throughout Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast remain without power tonight, and a number of shelters are opening. We understand that there are quite a few people seeking shelters tonight, and there are Red Cross shelters, and the Salvation Army is open, and also they will be opening some area schools and so forth if they feel the need, if some of those shelters get too crowded. And with the temperatures dropping near the freezing mark tonight, they can expect that a lot of people out here will need a place to stay warm. Brian?
Lynn, you are north of us there, so therefore probably a little colder. A lot of concern for the growers and whatnot for the cold temperatures tonight?
Yes, they've been taking precautions. Yesterday they covered a lot of the plants and vegetation out here, and basically growers out here are taking precautions. People are being advised to bring their house plants in, keep pets inside. It is going to be a cold one, that's for sure.
Okay, Lynn, thank you very much in Palm Beach. Okay, around the state, we told you the storm being blamed for at least 13 deaths, most of them from tornadoes spawned by the system. In Orlando, they destroyed trailers, homes, and even caused fires. Wind gusts of hurricane force common around the state. And in the Keys, one reportedly reached 109 miles per hour last night. The violent winds hammered communities up and down the west coast of the state as well. Old trees snapped, many of the scenes reminiscent of what we saw here after Hurricane Andrew. In Chiefland, Florida, that's a small town just west of Ocala, 3 people died and 6 were injured when a tornado touched down as the line of storms moved through there. Now, let's go to Tampa, where reporter Yolanda Fernandez is standing by live there. Yolanda, what did you get hit with?
Well, we have winds that we understand estimated gusts of up to 100 miles per hour and flooding in several Bay Area communities. We have many counties here that are reporting damage, hundreds of thousands of people without power today, and that has been of particular concern. We have thousands of people evacuated into shelters, but tonight, we do expect temperatures to get down below the freezing point, so we're quite concerned about people getting evacuated into safe areas. As you can imagine, most of the damage was along the coastal communities, a lot of boat damage. There are just piles of debris now floating in the water, boats standing in the middle of parking lots, and a lot of people wondering where their investments have gone. As far as damage inland, most of what we see is flooding. We see some minor damage on structures and a lot of debris and trees down. I don't think the worst is over yet, however.
Yolanda, it looks pretty bad there. I take it, in spite of the fact we were warned this was going to be a major storm, people weren't expecting it to be this bad?
That's right. In fact, I spoke with some commercial fishermen that have been out here for years, and they say this doesn't compare to when Hurricane Elena came to these parts. This is actually much worse, and they knew it was coming, but certainly not that it would be this strong.
Okay, thank you. Yolanda Fernandez live in Tampa. When we come back, we'll go live to Washington, D.C. and to New York, which has been hit once again with a 1, 2, 3 punch of wicked winter weather. Back with that in just a minute.
This started out about overnight as snow and sleet, and now it's just sleet and heavy winds. So far, looking down at the real estate here, nothing is seriously damaged, but right over here at this condominium, you can see the siding has sorely been peeling off and blowing away. That is the only damage we have seen so far. This is
Ed Helms Electric, the best electrical service company in South Florida, provides service you can depend on 24 hours a day, every day of the year. With experienced mechanics and fully equipped service trucks, Ed Helms is always ready for any type of electrical project in your home or business. And it's done right the first time, because our goal is to make you a customer for life. Ed Helms Electric, the best choice for all your electrical needs. Call 653-2520 in Dade, 463-2520 in Broward.
Just when I need someone to love me, just when I think the world's too cold, there you are, right there beside me. There you are in my heart, standing by me once again.
Sheba, because you cherish your cat.
To find out why Light and Lively low-fat yogurt is so smooth, we asked the experts.
They got this big, huge smootherator. They take tons of fruit and they smoosh it and they mush it. They put bananas and strawberries and it's very complicated.
One thing is clear. Kids love the smooth, fruity taste of Light and Lively yogurt. And it's good for them. It's in fun flavors, too. The experts are speechless. Light and Lively yogurt, an early start to eating smart.
In New York City, along Long Island, New York, and the New Jersey shore, they're getting a major pounding for the 3rd time this year. Channel 4's Steve Dawson is there. Well, we'll try and get back to Steve in just a minute. When you look at what's happening around the country, it's no surprise this is being called the storm of the century. Strong winds and snow falling in unusual places. 5 deaths being blamed on the massive snowstorm in Birmingham. 13 inches of snow has fallen there since it all started last night. That's the most they've ever had in one day. And in fact, it's the largest snowfall ever recorded in Birmingham. Georgia's governor has declared a state of emergency and activated the National Guard to help snowbound travelers there. More than 2 feet of snow has fallen in extreme northeastern Georgia. There are more than 4 inches in Atlanta, and it's still snowing as far south as Savannah. In the mountains of North Carolina, getting record snow, and other parts of the state getting hit by powerful winds and rain. It toppled trees and cut power to thousands in Cleveland County. That's west of the Charlotte area. Snow falling all over, except for the extreme eastern part of the state right now. Now, thousands of the storm's victims are travelers stuck because their planes are grounded. Airports from Pittsburgh to New York to Washington, D.C. are all shut down. At Miami and Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airports, there are plenty of cancellations, but at least the airports are open. If you have a flight this weekend, go ahead and call ahead. Straight ahead, what to do with your plants, and a massive power outage is possible as we prepare for the coldest temperatures of the season. A live update from Florida Power and Light, that's coming up next.
The sun rises and Ed Helms Electric, the best electrical service company in South Florida, begins another day, providing excellent service you can depend on. With its team of highly trained electricians and its fleet of modern, fully equipped service vehicles, Ed Helms Electric is the company you can count on for all of your electrical needs. Helping rebuild South Florida, our goal is to make you a customer for life. Call 653-2520 in Dade.
Honestly, your classic Eau de Sicilia ripe olives and mushrooms is as good as homemade. Even my husband, whose mother and grandmother cooked from scratch, agrees. When I served your classic Eau de Parma 4-cheese pasta sauce, my family loved it. Even my father, who grew up near Parma, smiled and said, I'd finally learned to cook.
Now introducing onion and garlic Classico di Sorrento. Taste the difference authenticity makes with Classico.
The event you're about to witness will truly amaze you. Lawrence Corby was looking for a masterpiece for his collection when he discovered the luxurious Mazda 929 touring sedan, an exquisite work of art with dual airbags and anti-lock brakes for only $399 a month with no down payment. Touring amazing savings at your Mazda dealer now. Mazda, it just feels right.
As we said, New York City, Long Island, and the Jersey Shore are getting pounded for a third time this year. Here's Channel 4's Steve Dawson.
They're calling this storm a killer, a monster, the mother of all storms, a white hurricane. Any one of those names would fit. Its legacy is going to be snow measured in feet rather than inches, and more than a few deaths. Florida was the first to suffer. The storm spun off tornadoes in 15 counties and left 10 people dead. Wind gusts in the Keys were clocked as high as 109 miles an hour.
A lot of good memories. They're gone now. But we'll rebuild it and put it back together again.
In Alabama, the storm piled up 6-foot-high snowdrifts. As the day wore on, airports along the eastern seaboard began to close, from Atlanta to Boston. Crews said they just couldn't keep up with the snowfall. Connecticut was the first state in New England to declare a state of emergency and put the National Guard on alert. Other states soon followed. The blizzard canceled hundreds of scheduled public events, including Boston's St. Patrick's Day Parade. With the snow came high winds and the threat of flooding all along the East Coast, causing evacuation of barrier islands from New Jersey to the Florida Keys.
Okay, there's nobody over there right now?
They're there right now.
Okay, you're going to go back over there and wait?
The National Weather Service said hurricane-force winds, waves to 25 feet, and tides 6 feet above normal would cause major flooding and severe beach erosion all along the East Coast. A reported 2.5.
Steve Dawson in the New York area, North Jersey area, they're getting pounded again. Now that the severe storms have moved on out to sea, we've got to talk about cold temperatures. How cold is it going to get tonight? Well, let's take a look now at the Florida map and see where we stand right now at this current hour with temperatures. And you'll see in North Florida, we're looking at for the ESD computer here upstairs. We're looking at temperatures there in the 30s already from Pensacola to Tallahassee, where there's still snow just over the line in Georgia. And we get down here to South Florida. Look at that. Miami down to 58 already, and Fort Lauderdale down to 62. Central Florida in the 40s. Now, how cold is it going to get here tonight? This is a very big question, and here's our forecast. Now, what we want to do now, guys, is go to the little technical term, cipher over the snow story. We want tonight's forecast. There we go. Starting, first of all, with the boaters. Here you see the gale warning continuing in effect. So what we have is winds up to 40 knots tonight, then dropping off to closer to 30 knots tomorrow, 6 to 9 feet in the open sea tomorrow, rough in the bay, and 74 in the surf. So again, boating might be a problem tomorrow. Tonight's forecast, record cold, wind chills of 15 to 25 degrees. We're talking in South Florida here now, with a low temperature of 38. So we do think it'll stay well above freezing here, but with the wind, it'll drive the wind chills for people and animals down into the teens. Now tomorrow we have plenty of sunshine expected, but a cold breeze up to about 62, not as windy as today. And then tomorrow night, bitter cold by our standards here, protect plants and pets, and a high temperature of 65. Now, the question is, what should we do with our plants? Harris Gubernick, the owner of Natureland Garden Centers, is here with us. We're talking about tonight, a windy night with the coldest temperatures arriving very late tonight, so I don't think we're going to have a long period of extreme cold, but still, would some plants be in danger with temperatures in the upper 30s?
Plants like Spathiphyllum, possibly impatiens, aglaonemas would be in some jeopardy.
All right, what would you do on a windy cold condition as opposed to a still cold condition?
Very difficult. You probably will end up getting some tip burn. You can put some water out early. You can still do it today, or right now actually. That'll help keep some of the temperature down into the earth and help warm the plants up.
All right, so you want to try and cover them and protect them from the wind? Is that the bottom line here?
If you can, but with the wind being what it is, I don't think you're going to be able to put anything over the plants, tough. That's for sure.
All right, now tomorrow night we're talking about a different kind of situation where the wind's going much calmer. Right. In that kind of situation, in the western parts of the county, we have a much bigger problem where the land is lower. Exactly. Now, would you do different things, be more concerned about that kind of situation?
Yes, if you can, try and keep an eye on the weather to see how cold it really gets. When it starts approaching mid-30s, you may want to think about possibly turning on your sprinkler system. Once it's on, you're committed. You've got to keep it running. That's pretty much about the best thing you can do.
I guess with a clear sky, some people say, or get out there and cover them so that they're not exposed to the sky, and that tends to keep a little warmth in again.
Exactly.
Although, if we do have rotating power outages, sprinkler systems might go off, so that could be a dangerous
That's a problem, too. We have that same problem. We're electric at the nursery.
All right, Harris Gubernick, thanks very much for coming by.
Thank you.
By all means, pets, plants, tonight and tomorrow night, I think especially tomorrow night, you're going to want to protect them. Now, Bryan Allen has been here all day with us, keeping track of things, and he's going to bring us up to date on what the totals have been and what's going on in the rest of the country outside South Florida. Brian?
It's almost one of these things, Brian. You write the total down and you wait an hour, and we're changing numbers constantly there. We got an update, Beckley, West Virginia now at 2 feet of snow in a 24-hour period. That shatters all kinds of snowfall records for them. Let's go ahead and take you into the Northeast right now. Storm track, still watching this whole area up in here. This is where the snow is all at. We're also seeing a little bit of some thunderstorm activity now right around Huntington, making its way, or actually Washington, making its way up toward Philadelphia, up through Delaware. All this continues to rotate around the low, all the moisture coming in, and then the cold air mixing in. So the snow event continues and it's going to stay continuing on into tomorrow. Past 24 hours, there we go. See everything blow up through the Gulf. The front came through for us. That's what was our trigger mechanism for the tornadoes. And here you can see everything continue to wrap around the low, rotating right into that area there, right about Washington, right around Virginia, continuing to wrap on through. And you see the snow extends then all the way out into Indiana. Here's what the map looks like for tonight as far as that goes. Record snowfall continues to pile up. The blizzard warning still in effect up in New England, also around New York City and also into Philadelphia as well. And the hurricane force winds and also the coastal flooding, a real problem up there as well. Some of the interesting numbers we're seeing so far. Right now, Birmingham has picked up about 13 inches of snow. Asheville, North Carolina, 16 inches of snow. Philadelphia, 11.3. Wind chill factor right now in Rochester, New York, 26 below zero. We've got a wind chill factor in Panama City of 8. Jacksonville, we're seeing also some snow flurries right now. Atlanta, 8 below as far as their wind chill factor. Brian?
All right, Brian, an amazing day up and down the East Coast. We'll be back with lots more, talk about the power, talk about the shelter situation in South Florida. Have that for you in just a minute.
You might never get that room picked up or the stereo turned down, but at least you can get those whites completely clean with new Ultra Surf Plus bleaching action. Its bleaching action out-whitens ordinary detergents and removes odors entirely for a complete white, so you can be proud of how your family looks, even when you hope no one's looking. New Ultra Surf Plus bleaching action, the complete white.
The American Impressions Collection from Ethan Allen. Just because you don't have a lot of money to throw around doesn't mean you have to live with disposable furniture. Right now, there's a sale going on at your local Ethan Allen.
As we told you earlier, hundreds of thousands of South Floridians having power problems potentially, some now and maybe even more tonight and tomorrow. Joining us now live on the phone is FP&L spokesperson Dale Thomas. Dale, what can you tell us?
Good evening. This evening we've got almost 430,000 customers still without power around the system, primarily because of high winds that have hampered our repair efforts all day long. It seems that as soon as our personnel restore one neighborhood, the winds come along and cause an outage in the next neighborhood, and that's been going on all day long. In Dade and Broward County, for example, we still have about 170,000 customer accounts without service.
Can you give them any feeling on when you're going to get the, let's just talk about Dade and Broward because that's who's paying attention to us. When might they expect their power to be back on?
We're working tonight to try to restore as many as possible, but it's certainly going to be overnight and into the morning before we can give you any better estimate of when the last of the customers will be restored. Unfortunately, the winds are going to continue at least through midnight, according to what we hear, and that means that some outages could continue to occur until the winds die down.
All right, now we're talking about very cold temperatures coming in by South Florida standards into the upper 30s potentially tonight and maybe even colder tomorrow night. I know you have some contingency plans for rotating blackouts. Exactly what are those plans and how would they affect us?
We do have plans for rotating blackouts. It looks like that on Monday morning some rotating blackouts are going to be almost required. It's possible we may have to do some on Sunday morning as well, but there we're going to have to wait and see. The problem there is that we have a very close match between demand and supply of electricity, so it's going to be nip and tuck on Sunday morning. Rotating blackout is simply a limited utility-controlled service interruption that lasts for up to 30 minutes to reduce electricity demand when it exceeds the supply.
All right, Dale Thomas, FP&L. Let's hope we don't have to do that, but everyone should be ready just in case that happens tomorrow. Thank you very much. All right, we had Jose Diaz-Balart in Washington covering President Clinton and the Homestead Air Force Base story, and of course was caught in this massive snowstorm. Let's take a look and see what he found out.
Washington, D.C. has been slammed and slammed hard by this storm. Snow has not stopped from falling. As a matter of fact, more than 1.5 feet of snow are already on the ground. Much more snow is expected. Maryland and Delaware, the shore there, some serious flooding, some evacuation.
It's Mom Nature at her best, you know. You got to take the good with the bad.
There's been a run on food at supermarkets. They had to close earlier tonight.
Just basic blizzard necessities, milk, eggs, juice, bread.
Things really are a mess here in Washington today. I mean, here, even at the White House, things were delayed by more than half an hour. The snow is unbelievable, and it's falling really hard. I mean, look at this. This has just been falling in the past couple of hours. And tourists, lots of them didn't know the storm was approaching. They are stuck in area hotels.
Well, we were going to go to the White House, and we were going to go to Vietnam, and we were going to do all the memorials. That was our day's plan.
I think that the snow is pretty high. When we came here, we thought it was going to be like 2 inches. Rather than that, it's 2 feet almost.
Jose Diaz-Balart reporting from Washington. Now, we have shelters open in both Dade and Broward County tonight, and what you need to do is contact the Red Cross or Rumor Control in Dade County. You can get the location. The number is 596-8735 in Dade County, 596-8735, or contact the Red Cross in Broward. That's it. We'll be back with lots more at 11 o'clock. I'm Bryan Norcross. We'll see you then.